Ma'am, this is a Platinum members-only section. You'll need to wait in the regular line with everyone else. The security guard's hand moved toward his radio. Dr. Amara Williams stood perfectly still. Her tailored navy suit cost more than most people's monthly salary. Her Patek Philippe watch caught the afternoon light streaming through Meridian Trust Bank's marble columns. Yet here she was, being dismissed like she didn't belong. The young woman behind her pulled out her phone. "This is about to go viral," she whispered to her friend. The live stream notification popped up, "Banking while black," from downtown Chicago. These real-life stories happen every day. Black stories of discrimination in places where respect should be guaranteed. But this touching story would become something different. Something that would shake an entire institution to its core. Have you ever been judged by your appearance in a place where you belonged more than anyone else? 2:47 p.m. Tuesday afternoon at Meridian Trust Bank's flagship branch in downtown Chicago's financial district. Amara approached the Platinum service desk with quiet confidence. Her Hermes briefcase bore the initials AW in gold lettering. The teller, a blonde woman in her 30s named Stephanie, looked up with barely concealed annoyance. "Excuse me, ma'am, this section is for Platinum members only." Stephanie's voice carried across the marble lobby. Other customers turned to look. "I understand. I need to access my account before my 3:15 meeting." Amara's voice remained steady, professional. Stephanie's eyes narrowed. "Do you have your Platinum card with you?" Amara reached into her briefcase. The black American Express Centurion card glinted under the lobby lights. Few people had ever seen one in person. Stephanie stared at it for a long moment. "This could be fake. We've had issues with counterfeit cards." Stephanie's voice grew louder. "I'm going to need additional verification." Behind Amara, 18-year-old Jenna Martinez had started her TikTok live stream. The viewer count climbed steadily, 47, 89, 156. Comments began flooding in. "Are you serious right now?" one viewer typed. "Call the manager," another demanded. Amara checked her watch. 2:52 p.m., 23 minutes until her board meeting. She pulled out her driver's license, passport, and a business card from her wallet. "Ma'am, I don't appreciate your tone," Stephanie said, though Amara hadn't raised her voice once. "Maybe you should try one of our other locations." The security guard, a heavy-set man in his 50s, approached. His nameplate read Officer Brooks. He spoke loud enough for the entire lobby to hear. "Is there a problem here?" "This woman is claiming to have a Platinum account, but I have my doubts," Stephanie explained. "She's being very demanding." Amara had said exactly 7 words since approaching the counter. Officer Brooks positioned himself between Amara and the exit. "Ma'am, we take security very seriously here. If you can't provide proper identification..." "I've provided my driver's license, passport, and business card," Amara replied calmly. She gestured toward the documents on the counter. Stephanie barely glanced at them. "These don't prove you have an account here." The live stream viewer count hit 382. Jenna angled her phone to capture the security guard's aggressive posture. The comments section exploded with outrage and, unfortunately, some support for the bank staff. "She does look suspicious," one comment read. "Racist bank," replied another. A man in an expensive suit walked past, shaking his head. "Some people just don't know their place," he muttered to his companion. Amara's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen. "Board meeting, 15 minutes. She declined the call. It buzzed again immediately. She declined that one too. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step away from the Platinum desk," Officer Brooks said. "You're causing a disturbance." The irony wasn't lost on Amara. She hadn't raised her voice, made demands, or caused any disruption. Simply existing in this space, while black, had become the disturbance. A manager approached. Dave Thompson, according to his nameplate, was a tall man with thinning hair and a permanent scowl. He surveyed the scene with authority. "What seems to be the problem here?" Stephanie spoke quickly. "This woman is claiming to have a platinum account, but she can't prove it. She's being very aggressive." Dave looked Amara up and down. His expression said everything. "Ma'am, we take fraud very seriously at Meridian Trust. If you can't provide proper documentation..." "I've provided my identification and account information." Amara's voice remained level. "Anyone can get fake IDs these days," Dave replied. "Do you have any statements, deposit receipts, anything that actually proves you bank here?" Marara's phone buzzed again. The caller ID showed Michael Chen, CFO. She declined the call. "I need to access my account. I have a meeting in 12 minutes. Dave crossed his arms. "Ma'am, I don't care if you say you're meeting with the Queen of England. Without proper verification, you're not accessing anything." The live stream had grown to 847 viewers. Local news outlets began picking up the feed. Meridian Trust racism started appearing in the comments. "This is unbelievable," Jenna whispered to her phone. "They're treating her like a criminal for trying to bank while black." Other customers had stopped their transactions to watch. Some looked uncomfortable with the scene unfolding. Others seemed entertained by the drama. Amara checked her watch again. 3:05 p.m. 10 minutes until her meeting. Her phone showed 17 missed calls. "I'd like to speak with whoever's in charge of this branch," she said quietly. Dave's chest puffed out. "Lady, I am in charge of this branch, and you're about to be escorted out if you don't leave voluntarily." Officer Brooks stepped closer. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to come with me." Through the window, Amara could see a Chicago Police Department squad car pulling up to the curb. Someone had called 911. The live stream viewer count hit 1,247. The story was spreading across social media platforms. Local news reporter Sarah Kim was already en route to the scene. Amara looked around the lobby. Marble columns, crystal chandeliers, oil paintings of the bank's founding fathers. She knew this place better than anyone realized. She knew the exact cost of every renovation, every piece of art, every security camera. Speaking of which, she counted 4 cameras with clear views of the platinum desk. Everything was being recorded from multiple angles. Her phone buzzed one more time. She looked at the screen. "Emergency board meeting. Where are you?" 3:07 p.m. 8 minutes until the most important meeting in Meridian Trust's history. The police officers entered through the main doors. Officer Rodriguez and Officer Chen approached the platinum desk area where the crowd had gathered. The live stream viewer count jumped to 2,847 as word spread across social media. "We got a call about a disturbance," Officer Rodriguez announced. Dave Thompson immediately took charge. "Officers, this woman has been harassing our staff and refusing to leave. She's claiming to have accounts she can't verify." Amara remained calm. "I haven't harassed anyone. I've been trying to access my account for 20 minutes. "She's lying," Stephanie interjected. "She's been very aggressive and demanding." Jenna's live stream captured everything. The comments section had become a battleground of opinions. Meridian Trust racism was trending, with 2,100 posts and climbing rapidly. "This is insane," one viewer commented. "She's been nothing but polite. Banks have every right to verify customers," another replied. Officer Chen examined Amara's identification. "Everything looks legitimate here. Ma'am, do you have any bank statements or cards that show you have accounts here?" Amara reached for her wallet again, but Dave interrupted. "Officers, anyone can get fake documents. We've had problems with fraud in this area." "What specific fraud problems?" Amara asked quietly. Dave stumbled over his words. "Well, there have been incidents. People trying to access accounts that aren't theirs. How many incidents this year? Amara pressed. I don't have exact numbers, but Dave's confidence wavered slightly. 0, Amara said quietly. There have been 0 fraud incidents at this branch in the past 18 months. The lobby fell silent. How could she possibly know that statistic? Officer Rodriguez looked confused. Ma'am, how do you know the bank's fraud statistics? Mara's phone buzzed again. The caller ID showed Janet Morrison, board chair. She declined the call. 3:09 p.m., 6 minutes until her meeting. I know because I review the monthly security reports, Amara replied. Dave laughed nervously. Ma'am, customers don't have access to internal security reports. You're right. Customers don't. The implication hung in the air, but no one grasped it yet. More bank employees had gathered to watch the spectacle. Teller supervisors, loan officers, and customer service representatives formed a semicircle around the platinum desk. Some whispered among themselves. She's probably one of those sovereign citizen types, one employee muttered. Definitely a scammer, another agreed. The live stream audience had grown to 5,923 viewers. News outlets were picking up the story. The Chicago Tribune's Twitter account shared the stream with the caption, Live? Discrimination at Meridian Trust Bank? Dave's phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID and stepped away to answer. Yes, sir, we have a situation under control. A woman claiming to have accounts she can't verify. Yes, sir, the police are here. He returned to the group with renewed authority. I just spoke with upper management. They've authorized me to have you removed from the premises. On what grounds? Officer Chen asked. Trespassing and disturbing the peace. Amara looked around the lobby. I haven't disturbed anything. I've been standing here quietly for 25 minutes. You've been harassing my staff, Dave insisted. I've spoken fewer than 50 words since I arrived. Officer Rodriguez was reviewing the situation. A well-dressed woman with proper identification being accused of harassment for quietly trying to access her bank account. Something didn't add up. Ma'am, why don't you try to access your account through the ATM? That might resolve this quickly. Dave stepped forward. Officers, she's clearly here to cause trouble. Look at all the attention she's drawn. He gestured toward Jenna, who was still live streaming. The viewer count had reached 8,432. I didn't draw any attention, Amara replied. I approached the desk to conduct business. The attention came from the treatment I received. Stephanie spoke up again. She was very demanding from the moment she walked up. What did I demand? Amara asked. Stephanie paused. You demanded to be served immediately? I said I needed to access my account before my 3:15 meeting. That's not a demand, that's a statement of need. The employees looked less certain now. Several glanced at each other uncomfortably. Amara's phone buzzed continuously. She had 37 missed calls in the past 10 minutes. 3:11 p.m. 4 minutes until her meeting. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to leave now, Dave said firmly. You're disrupting our business. The only disruption is the crowd you've created by refusing to serve me. Officer Rodriguez made a decision. Ma'am, why don't you use the ATM to show you have an account here? That should settle this. Amara nodded. That's reasonable. She walked to the nearest ATM, followed by the officers, bank staff, and Jenna with her phone. The live stream audience held its breath as she inserted her card. The screen displayed, Welcome to Meridian Trust Bank. Then, Welcome, Dr. Williams. Dave and Stephanie exchanged glances. Dr. Williams? The card was legitimate. The account selection screen appeared. Amara selected Personal Checking. Balance. $847,329. 12 cents. The crowd went silent. Even the live stream comments stopped for a moment. That's a substantial account, Officer Chen observed. Dave's face had gone pale. Well, that proves she has an account, but it doesn't change the fact that she was being disruptive. I was being disruptive by having money in your bank, Amara asked. The ATM screen showed additional options. Amara hesitated, then selected Business Account Access. A new screen appeared. Select Account. The list showed 3 business accounts. Meridian Trust operating $127,834,592.18. Meridian Trust Reserves $45,923,847.33. Meridian Trust Investment $89,234,156.78. Dave's legs nearly gave out. Those were the bank's own operating accounts. How could a customer have access to internal bank accounts? There must be some mistake, he stammered. Amara turned to face him. What kind of mistake? Those accounts... Those are internal bank accounts. Customers can't access those. You're right. Customers can't. The live stream exploded with activity. 15,947 viewers and climbing rapidly. The comments section was moving too fast to read. Stephanie's hand trembled as she pointed at the screen. How do you have access to the bank's operating accounts? Amara's phone buzzed again. She finally answered. Yes, I'm still downstairs. Yes, we should proceed as planned. Yes, all of them. She hung up and looked at Dave. Where is conference room A? It's on the executive floor. Why? Because I have a meeting there in 2 minutes, and you're coming with me. Officer Rodriguez was thoroughly confused. Ma'am, what exactly is going on here? Amara walked back to the ATM and selected Account Information for the Meridian Trust operating account. The screen displayed Account Holder, Dr. Amara Williams, Chief Executive Officer. The lobby fell completely silent except for the sound of Jenna's live stream notification pings. 18,234 viewers and counting. Dave Thompson's face went from pale to gray. That's impossible. What's impossible? Amara asked calmly. You can't be. You're not. I'm not what, Dave? He couldn't finish the sentence. The words he wanted to say would end his career immediately, and 16,000 people were watching live. 3:14 p.m., 1 minute until the meeting. Conference room A is on the 15th floor, Amara said. Shall we go? The elevator ride to the 15th floor was the longest 60 seconds in Dave Thompson's life. Officer Rodriguez and Officer Chen had decided to accompany them, sensing this situation was far more complex than a simple banking dispute. Stephanie stood frozen in the corner, her face pale as she realized the magnitude of what had just happened. Jenna's live stream had reached 23,847 viewers. She held her phone steady as they ascended, whispering commentary to her audience. Y'all, I don't think we understand what's happening here, she said quietly. This woman just accessed the bank's own accounts, like their internal money. The elevator dinged softly as they reached the executive floor. The doors opened to reveal a hallway lined with mahogany paneling and oil paintings. A brass nameplate on the wall read, Executive Offices, Authorized Personnel Only. Amara stepped out first, using her keycard to unlock the security door. Dave's eyes widened as the door clicked open. How did she have executive access? This way, Amara said, leading them down the hall. They passed offices labeled Chief Financial Officer, Chief Operating Officer, and Vice President of Risk Management. At the end of the hall stood double doors with a nameplate. Board of Directors. Conference Room A. Amara opened the doors to reveal a long mahogany table surrounded by leather chairs. 7 men in expensive suits sat around the table, checking their watches and looking agitated. They looked up as the group entered. "Amara, thank God," said a distinguished Asian man in his 60s. "We were starting to worry." Dave's knees nearly buckled. These were the bank's board members. He recognized Michael Chen, the chief financial officer, and Robert Harrison, the chairman of the board. "Gentlemen, I apologize for the delay," Amara said, taking her seat at the head of the table. "I was detained downstairs by some customer service issues." She gestured toward Dave and Stephanie. "I'd like you to meet Dave Thompson, our downtown branch manager, and Stephanie Morrison, one of our Platinum Service representatives." Robert Harrison frowned. "Customer service issues? What kind of issues?" "The kind that result in viral videos and potential lawsuits," Amara replied calmly. She pulled out her phone and showed them Jenna's live stream. The viewer count had hit 31,592. The board members leaned forward to watch the screen, their expressions growing more serious by the second. "Is this from today?" Michael Chen asked. "About 10 minutes ago," Amara confirmed. The live stream showed Dave refusing to serve Amara, calling her aggressive and threatening to have her arrested. The audio was crystal clear. Every word, every dismissive gesture, every assumption was captured. "Jesus Christ," Robert muttered. "This is a PR nightmare." Dave finally found his voice. I had no idea. She never said she was..." "She shouldn't have to," interrupted Janet Morrison, the bank's general counsel. "Every customer deserves respectful service, regardless of their position." Stephanie was crying now. "I'm so sorry. I thought..." "You thought what?" Amara asked gently. Stephanie couldn't answer. The truth was too ugly to say out loud, especially with 35,000 people watching online. Officer Rodriguez cleared his throat. "Ma'am, I'm still not entirely clear on what's happening here." Robert Harrison stood up. "Officers, allow me to introduce Dr. Amara Williams, Chief Executive Officer of Meridian Trust Bank." The police officers stared at Amara in disbelief. The woman they'd been called to remove from the bank was actually the person who owned it. "Dr. Williams has been our CEO for 3 years, Michael Chen added. "She's transformed this institution into one of the most profitable regional banks in the Midwest." Dave slumped into a chair. "I've been working here for 8 years. How did I not know?" "Because you work at the branch level," Amara explained. "You report to regional management. Most branch employees have never met me in person." She turned to address the room. "But that's part of the problem. There's a disconnect between our executive leadership and our frontline staff. Today's incident proves we have serious cultural issues to address." The live stream audience was in complete chaos. Comments flooded in faster than anyone could read. "Yo, she's the CEO? This is the best plot twist ever. Dave is so fired. I can't believe what I just watched." Local news outlets were scrambling to cover the story. The hashtag Meridian Trust CEO was trending nationally with over 15,000 posts. Janet Morrison was already on her phone with the bank's public relations firm. "We need damage control immediately. This is going to be front-page news." Amara held up her hand. "Before we discuss damage control, I want to address the root cause." She turned to Dave. "In your 8 years here, how many black customers have you personally served at the platinum level?" Dave's mouth opened and closed like a fish. I don't keep track of customers by race." "That's part of the problem. We should be tracking demographic data to ensure we're serving all communities equally." She pulled out a tablet and brought up a presentation. "I've been reviewing branch performance data for the past 6 months. Our downtown location has the lowest customer satisfaction scores in the network. The graphs showed damning statistics. Customer complaints, 312% increase over 6 months. Account closures, $2,300,000, 0 cents in assets moved to competitors. Online reviews, 1.8 out of 5 stars. Employee turnover, 45% annually. These numbers don't lie, Amara continued. We have a customer service crisis, and today's incident shows why. Dave looked like he might vomit. His branch had the worst performance in the entire network, and he'd just publicly humiliated his own CEO. The live stream has been viewed by over 40,000 people, Michael Chen reported, monitoring social media. It's being shared across all platforms. Good, Amara said, surprising everyone. Let them see what happens when we fail our customers. She stood and walked to the window overlooking the city. I started this bank to serve underserved communities, to provide access to capital for people who've been excluded from traditional banking. She turned back to face the room. Instead, we've become exactly what I hoped to change. We've become a place where people are judged by their appearance rather than their character or their account balance. Stephanie wiped her eyes. Dr. Williams, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say. Say you'll do better. Say you'll learn from this. Say you'll help us change. Officer Rodriguez was still processing everything. Ma'am, do you want to press charges? What they did was clearly discriminatory. Amara considered the question carefully. No charges. But there will be consequences. She turned to Robert Harrison. I'm calling an emergency board meeting for tomorrow morning. We're implementing immediate changes to prevent this from happening again. The live stream viewer count had reached 47,329. News vans were arriving at the bank. Reporter Sarah Kim was setting up for a live broadcast from the sidewalk. The story is already spreading beyond Chicago, Janet reported. We're getting calls from CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News. Then we better have a plan, Amara said. She looked at Dave and Stephanie. You two are going to be part of the solution. Dave, you're going to help us redesign our customer service protocols. Stephanie, you're going to help us develop bias training for all employees. Both nodded eagerly, grateful to still have jobs. This incident is going to cost us, Michael warned. Stock price, reputation, potential lawsuits from other customers who experience similar treatment. Or, Amara said, it could be the best thing that ever happened to us. If we handle this right, we could become the model for how banks should treat all customers. She sat back down at the head of the table. Gentlemen, we have work to do, and we have 50,000 people watching us do it. The live stream continued, showing the boardroom where the real power resided, where decisions were made that affected thousands of employees and millions of customers, where a black woman CEO was about to transform an entire industry. 3:47 p.m., the emergency board meeting was in full swing, with 52,847 people watching live as corporate America's most unusual crisis management session unfolded in real time. Amara pulled up a comprehensive presentation on the conference room's wall-mounted screen. Before we address today's incident, let's examine the systemic issues that created it. The first slide showed stark demographic data. Branch customer base, 67% minority communities. Branch management, 89% white. Platinum service complaints, 78% from minority customers. Employee diversity training, last conducted in 2019. These numbers tell a story, Amara continued. We're serving communities we don't understand, with staff who haven't been properly trained to recognize their own biases. Dave Thompson sat in stunned silence as the data revealed the extent of his branch's problems. The live stream comments were brutal but accurate. The numbers don't lie. This is institutional racism in action. Finally, a CEO who uses data instead of excuse. Robert Harrison leaned forward. Amara, what's our legal exposure here? Janet Morrison, the general counsel, had been frantically researching. Significant, Under the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, we can face federal fines up to $500,000, 0 cents per incident. The Fair Housing Act adds another layer of liability. How many similar incidents have gone unreported? Amara asked. She clicked to the next slide showing customer complaint analysis. Formal complaints about discriminatory treatment, 23 in 6 months. Social media mentions of poor service, 147 posts. Customer exit surveys citing disrespectful treatment, 34 responses. Estimated unreported incidents, 200 plus based on industry studies. We're looking at potential class action liability in the millions, Janet concluded. Michael Chen was monitoring the financial impact in real time. Stock prices down 2.3% since the live stream started. That's $47 million, 0 cents in market cap. And climbing, Robert added, checking his phone. The story just hit Bloomberg and Reuters. Amara clicked to the next slide. Immediate action plan. We have 3 choices, she announced. Minimize, deny, and hope it goes away. Apologize publicly and promise to do better. Or use this as a catalyst for fundamental change. She looked around the room. I'm recommending option 3. That's the riskiest approach, Robert warned. Why not just apologize and move on? Because apologies without action are meaningless. And because 55,000 people are watching us right now. This is our chance to show real leadership. Dave finally spoke up. Dr. Williams, I want to make this right. Tell me what I need to do. Amara nodded. First, you're going to publicly acknowledge what happened. No excuses, no justifications, just accountability. She turned to Stephanie. You too. The live stream captured everything. Denying it would be pointless. Stephanie nodded through her tears. I understand. Second, we're implementing immediate policy changes. Amara clicked to the next slide. The Meridian Trust Equity Initiative includes mandatory quarterly bias training for all employees, customer service monitoring software with demographic tracking, mystery shopper program testing for discriminatory treatment, community advisory board with diverse representation, $2 million 0 cents community investment fund, executive diversity requirements for all management positions. The board members exchanged glances. These weren't minor policy adjustments. This was a complete cultural overhaul. The cost, Michael asked. Initial implementation, $1,200,000 0 cents. Annual ongoing costs, $800,000 0 cents. Potential savings from improved customer retention and reduced legal liability, $5,700,000 0 cents annually. You've already run the numbers, Robert observed. I've been planning this for months. Today's incident just accelerated the timeline. Officer Rodriguez, who had been quietly observing, raised his hand. Ma'am, I have to ask, why didn't you just identify yourself immediately? This whole situation could have been avoided. Amara considered the question carefully. Because I shouldn't have to. Every customer deserves respectful treatment, regardless of their title or account balance. She clicked to a slide showing customer testimonial. I've banked at Meridian Trust for 15 years, but I'm tired of being followed around like I'm going to steal something. Marcus Johnson, small business owner. The staff treats me like I don't belong there, even though I have a 6-figure account. Dr. Patricia Williams, physician. My teenage son refuses to come to the bank with me because of how they look at him. Carmen Rodriguez, teacher. These are our customers' voices, Amara said. Today, I experience what they experience every day. The live stream audience had grown to 67,439 viewers. Major news networks were preparing special reports. The story was trending on Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok simultaneously. The viral aspect changes everything, Janet warned. We can't control the narrative anymore. Good, Amara replied. Controlled narratives are how these problems perpetuate. Transparency forces accountability. She clicked to the final slide, implementation timeline. Week 1, public acknowledgement and apology from branch management. Week 2, emergency bias training for all downtown branch staff. Week 3, installation of customer service monitoring systems, Month 1. Launch of Mystery Shopper Program, Month 2. Community Advisory Board formation. Month 3, first quarterly bias training cycle. Month 6, comprehensive program evaluation and adjustment. This is aggressive, Robert said. Are we sure we want to move this fast? We don't have a choice. The whole world is watching now. Dave's phone buzzed with a text from his wife. I'm watching the live stream. I'm proud of you for wanting to change. Even his family was following the story now. There's one more thing, Amara said. I'm instituting a new policy. Any employee who experiences or witnesses discriminatory treatment can report it directly to me. My personal email will be on every employee's business card. That's unprecedented, Michael said. CEOs don't usually handle individual HR complaints. Unprecedented times require unprecedented measures. The live stream chat was moving too fast to follow, but the sentiment was clear. People were amazed to see a CEO taking personal responsibility and implementing real solutions in real time. Reporter Sarah Kim had set up outside the bank and was interviewing customers about their experiences. The stories she was hearing corroborated everything Amara had presented to the board. We need to prepare for the media response, Janet said. This story is going national. I'll handle the media personally, Amara decided. No PR firms, no prepared statements, just honest conversation about what happened and what we're doing to fix it. She stood up and walked to the window again. The crowd outside had grown. Some people were protesting, others were showing support. News vans lined the street. There's something else we need to discuss, she said, turning back to the board. Compensation. Compensation? Robert asked. Every customer who experienced discriminatory treatment at our branches deserves compensation, not because we're legally required to provide it, but because it's the right thing to do. That could cost millions, Michael warned. Good customer service costs money. Bad customer service costs more. Dave was taking notes frantically. How do we identify customers who experienced discrimination? We ask them. We create a safe space for people to share their experiences. We listen, we apologize, and we make it right. The live stream had become a community forum. Viewers were sharing their own stories of banking discrimination, supporting each other, and calling for change across the industry. This is bigger than Meridian Trust now, Jeanette observed. Other banks are being tagged in the comments. People are demanding similar accountability everywhere. Then we better set a good example, Amara said. She looked at her watch. 4:23 p.m. The incident that started at 2:47 p.m. had transformed into a national conversation about bias, accountability, and corporate responsibility. Dave, Stephanie, you're going to be the faces of this change. Are you ready for that responsibility? Both nodded seriously. Then let's go talk to the media. The live stream audience erupted in excitement. They were about to witness the most transparent corporate crisis response in history. As they prepared to leave the boardroom, Amara made one final announcement. From now on, all Meridian Trust board meetings will be live streamed. Complete transparency, complete accountability. The corporate world had never seen anything like it. 4:35 p.m. The press conference outside Meridian Trust Bank drew reporters from every major news outlet in Chicago. The live stream audience had peaked at 89,347 viewers as Amara approached the microphone set up on the sidewalk. Dave Thompson and Stephanie Morrison stood beside her, both visibly nervous but determined. Officer Rodriguez and Officer Chen remained nearby, having become unexpected witnesses to corporate accountability in action. "Good afternoon," Amara began. "I'm Dr. Amara Williams, CEO of Meridian Trust Bank. An hour ago, I was discriminated against at my own bank. Today, we're going to discuss how we're going to fix it." The crowd fell silent. No corporate speak, no deflection, just direct acknowledgement of the problem. Dave Thompson, our downtown branch manager, is going to speak first. Dave stepped forward, his hands shaking slightly. "I want to apologize to Dr. Williams and to every customer who has experienced discrimination at our branch. I was wrong. My staff was wrong. We failed to provide the respectful service that every person deserves." His voice grew stronger. "I've managed this branch for 8 years, and I realize now that I've been blind to problems that were right in front of me. That changes today." The live stream comments showed surprise at his directness. He's actually taking responsibility. This is not what I expected. Real accountability for once. Stephanie stepped forward next. "I treated Dr. Williams poorly based on assumptions I made about her. That was wrong, and I'm ashamed of my behavior. I've requested additional training, and I'm committed to doing better." Reporter Sarah Kim raised her hand. "Dr. Williams, what specific changes are you implementing?" Amara pulled out her tablet. "We're launching the Meridian Trust Equity Initiative with a $2 million 0-cents investment. Every employee will receive quarterly bias training. We're installing customer service monitoring software. And we're creating a community advisory board to hold us accountable." "When do these changes start?" asked a reporter from the Chicago Tribune. "They already have. Dave and Stephanie will begin emergency training tomorrow morning. The monitoring software will be installed by Friday. The advisory board will meet for the first time next week." A reporter from CNN pushed forward. "What about financial compensation for affected customers?" "We're establishing a customer resolution fund. Any customer who experienced discriminatory treatment will receive direct compensation and a personal apology." "How much compensation?" the reporter pressed. "Enough to show we're serious about change. The exact amounts will be determined case by case, but we're talking about meaningful compensation, not token gestures." Dave stepped back to the microphone. "I want to say something else. This morning, I thought I was doing my job by being suspicious of customers. I realize now that I was letting my biases make decisions for me." He looked directly into the cameras. "If you're a customer who felt disrespected at our branch, I personally apologize. And I promise to do better." The crowd was quiet. This level of public accountability was unprecedented in corporate America. A reporter from the Wall Street Journal raised her hand. "Dr. Williams, some investors are concerned about the cost of these initiatives. How do you respond to shareholders who see this as an overreaction?" Amara's response was swift and confident. "Good customer service isn't an expense, it's an investment. We've lost $2,300,000, 0 cents in closed accounts this year due to poor service. These initiatives will cost $1,200,000, 0 cents to implement, and $800,000, 0 cents annually to maintain." She clicked to a slide on her tablet showing financial projections. "Conservative estimates show we'll retain an additional $5,700,000, 0 cents, in assets annually, and attract new customers seeking respectful banking relationships. The business case is clear. Treating customers with dignity is profitable." Stephanie spoke up again. "I want to say something to the people watching online. I know you're angry at me, you should be, but please don't let my mistakes make you think all bank employees are like this." She paused, collecting her thoughts. "Most of us want to do right by our customers. Sometimes we need help seeing our blind spots. Today was my wake-up call." The live stream audience was responding positively to the genuine remorse and commitment to change. This is how you handle a crisis. They're actually listening and learning. More companies should respond like this. A reporter from ABC7 Chicago stepped forward. Dr. Williams, you chose not to press charges. Why? Because putting people in jail doesn't change hearts and minds. Training does. Education does. Creating systems that support good behavior does. She looked at Dave and Stephanie. These aren't bad people. They're people who made bad choices because they were operating in a system that didn't adequately prepare them to serve all customers equally. Today, we start building a better system. Michael Chen, the CFO, provided an update from behind the cameras. The stock price had recovered most of its losses as investors responded positively to the comprehensive response plan. A reporter from Fox 32 asked, "What message do you have for other banks facing similar issues? Stop hiding behind corporate policies and legal departments. Face your problems directly, listen to your customers, and invest in real solutions, not just public relations campaigns." The press conference was wrapping up when Jenna, the young woman who had live-streamed the original incident, approached the microphone. "Dr. Williams, can I ask you something?" Amara nodded. "Why didn't you get angry? If someone treated me like that, I would have been furious." Amara smiled. "I was angry, but anger without purpose is just noise. Anger channeled into positive change is powerful." She looked at the crowd. Today's incident wasn't about me. It was about every person who's been judged unfairly, every customer who's been made to feel unwelcome, every individual who's been denied respect because of their appearance. If my experience helps create change for others, then it was worth it. 6 months later, the transformation at Meridian Trust Bank had exceeded everyone's expectations. The downtown branch that had been the worst-performing location in the network was now the highest rated for customer satisfaction. Dave Thompson had become an unexpected advocate for workplace equity training. He spoke at banking conferences about recognizing and overcoming unconscious bias. His presentation, "How I Almost Fired My Own CEO," was requested by financial institutions across the country. "The hardest part wasn't admitting I was wrong," he told audiences. "The hardest part was realizing how many customers I had failed before that day." Stephanie Morrison completed her bias certification and was promoted to Customer Experience Specialist. She helped design the training program that was now being used by 12 other banks. "I learned that treating people with dignity isn't about being politically correct," she explained to new employees. "It's about basic human respect." The customer service monitoring software detected 3 potential bias incidents in the first 6 months. Each was addressed immediately with additional training and customer follow-up. 0 complaints escalated to formal grievances. The Mystery Shopper program revealed that 94% of customer interactions now met or exceeded service standards, compared to 67% before the incident. Most importantly, the Community Advisory Board had helped the bank develop new products specifically designed for underserved populations. Small business lending increased by 47%. Home mortgage applications from minority communities rose by 62%. "We're not just preventing discrimination now," Amara explained in her Harvard Business Review case study. "We're actively creating opportunities for communities that have been historically excluded from banking services." The viral video had been watched over 12 million times across all platforms. It was used in business schools as a case study in crisis management and corporate accountability. The Customer Resolution Fund had paid out $847,000 to 156 customers who experienced discriminatory treatment. Each received a personal apology letter and invitation to meet with branch management. "The money wasn't the point," said Dr. Patricia Williams, one of the affected customers. "The point was that they listened. They acknowledged the harm, and they took action to prevent it from happening again. The industry impact was significant. The American Bankers Association updated their best practices guidelines to include bias training requirements. 15 other banks implemented similar monitoring systems. Afternoon changed how an entire industry thinks about customer service, noted banking industry analyst Robert Martinez. Amara's leadership style became a model for transparent corporate governance. Monthly live-streamed board meetings attracted audiences of 15,000 to 25,000 viewers. Other companies began adopting similar transparency practices. When you operate in the light, you make better decisions, Amara explained. Secrecy enables bad behavior. Transparency encourages excellence. The bank's stock price had risen 18% since the incident, outperforming industry averages. Customer deposits increased by $127 million. Employee satisfaction scores reached all-time highs. But for Amara, the most meaningful change was personal. I can walk into any of our branches now and know that every customer will be treated with the same respect I expect for myself. Dave Thompson still managed the downtown branch, but his perspective had completely changed. Every day I ask myself, how would I want my mother treated if she walked through these doors? That simple question guides every decision. These life stories remind us that real change happens when we choose courage over comfort, when we stand up for what's right, even when it's difficult, when we turn painful experiences into powerful catalysts for transformation. The touching stories of discrimination don't have to end in defeat. They can end in victory. Real-life stories of injustice can become black stories of triumph when we refuse to accept the status quo. Have you witnessed discrimination in your workplace or community? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your voice matters in creating systemic change. Subscribe for more inspiring stories of courage and transformation. Together, we can build a more equitable world, one interaction at a time.